Hey everybody, this is Mr. Storm, and in this power standard, you're going to show me how much you've understood or how much you've learned about loops. When you look at my example, you're going to see how complicated this can get, but if you understand loops well and you're paying attention to the brackets and where they're supposed to go, you should be just fine on this project. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a trivia game about any topic you want. It can be anything. Mine is about Star Wars. Yours can be about anything. You're going to use loops to keep the user locked into each question until they answer the question correctly. Meaning, if the question is, I don't know, name a member of the Jedi Council, and they type, Anakin Skywalker, well, he was never granted the rank of, they gave him a seat on the council, but he was never granted the rank of master. So we're going to say that doesn't count, right? So then it would basically just tell them to ask again, right? Or answer the question again. It'll keep them locked into a loop until they answer correctly. At least two of your questions should use an array to store possible answers. So think back to that categories game that we built last week. That's essentially the same functionality we're using here. So you're going to have an array with possible answers, and you're going to use a for loop to iterate through each array. Then you're going to allow them to replay the game once they finish. So once they get to the end of the game, you're going to allow them to replay it so that they can answer the questions again if they'd like. There should be at least 5 questions in the game. Now, we also want to make sure that the game is easy for your user to understand and make sure the game functions properly. If it's hard for me to understand what you're asking, then it's going to be hard for your user to understand, and they're not going to get as much out of the game as you want. So let's take a look at my example. So over here, we have our main method. I have a section for variables here. I have a string variable that is going to store the user's choice, whatever answer they give. Now, we're going to use the same variable for every question, and I'll show you how that works. This entire game only requires 5 different variables. So the user choice variable, a bool that handles whether or not the answer is correct, a string variable called play, which is going to handle whether or not we're going to play the game again. Then we have a couple of string arrays that have some data inside them. For example, this array is called Jedi, and it's going to list all the Jedi that were on the Jedi Council. And then this string is called Sith, and it's going to have a bunch of Dark Lords of the Sith inside. Okay, now here's our entire game. It's all inside of this while loop right here. So the entire thing is handled by this while loop. And this essentially says while play equals y, which we have it set to at the beginning of the game, we're going to play the game. Now, once we get to the bottom of the game, let me show you. Down here at the bottom, the last thing it asks is, thanks for playing, would you like to play again, yes or no? Well, then we enter our answer. And if we change it to anything other than y, then we won't play the game anymore. But if we type y, then we play the game again. So that's our while loop handling the overall, like letting your character or your player play the game once they're finished, once they've gotten to the end. Okay. So then we're going to clear the console, because if we're playing this again, we want to clear the console. We have a basically welcome, Star Wars trivia game. Then we have our individual questions. So this is question 1. Now question 1 is handled by a do while loop, right? So we're going to do the question while correct equals false. Okay. So while correct equals false, meaning correct is not true yet, right? And we set correct to false at the beginning. So while correct equals false, we're going to ask the question. So name one member of the Jedi Council. We're going to have the user enter their answer. Remember, we're using this to lower as well, just so it's easier to make our comparisons. Then we're going to use a for loop to check to see if what they've answered matches anything, any index in the Jedi array. If it does, then we tell them correct, and we set correct equal to true. Then out here, if correct still equals false, then we're going to say, hey, sorry, try again. Now, If we've changed correct to true, then this loop doesn't essentially run again because correct does not equal false anymore. So then we're going to move on to the next thing. Now, in between each question, I have these two statements. One is a console clear, just to clear the screen, make it a little easier. And two, I want to reset the value of the correct variable back to false, right? Because I want to start each question with correct being false so that it doesn't automatically answer, it doesn't automatically, whatever. You get what I'm saying, right? We're resetting the correct variable back to false so that it doesn't automatically give me a correct answer every time I start the game or I start the question. All right, and the next question essentially is the same as up there. Hint, I copied and pasted. Once I had the first question done, I was like, ooh, this is exactly the same thing I want to do for the next question. How about I copy and paste? Okay, so I copy and pasted this again, and it's essentially the same question, just on the opposite side. Name the Dark Lord, or name one Dark Lord of the Sith. So they enter. It goes through the Sith array, checking to see if what they've entered matches. Again, same functionality down here, same stuff. So those are the those are the questions that iterate through an array to check for an answer. Down here in question 3, it's actually a bit easier. So we're just going to say, we're going to ask the question, who built C-3PO? And we're going to give them 4 options, right? Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader, or Prince Leia. We're going to give them the ability to enter their answer, and we're going to check to see if their answer matches any of the possible values we're looking for, all right? If it does, then we're going to do the same thing that we did up here when they found the correct answer. So we'll say console.writeLine correct, correct equals true. If correct still equals false, then we're going to say sorry, try again. So again, the same functionality. We're literally doing the same thing, right? The first Death Star was destroyed while it orbited a moon of which planet? Yavin. All right, that's what we're looking for. And then the last question, what is the crystal that powers lightsabers and the Death Star lasers? That's going to be Kyber crystal, so that's what we're looking for. Now, when we're done with all 5 questions, down here at the bottom, we want to finish the game. So we're going to clear the console. We're going to say, thanks for playing the game. Would you like to play again? Yes or no? And then they get to tell me whether or not they want to play. So up here, this is my game as it's running. Name one member of the Jedi Council. So I'm going to say Anakin Skywalker. Sorry, try again. Name one member of the Jedi Council. Okay, fine. Mace Windu. That's correct. So we move on to the next question. Name one Dark Lord of the Sith. Jar Jar Binks. No? Okay. Darth Tyrannus. Perfect. Who built C-3PO? Let's say 4. Princess Leia. Nope. Okay, let's see. Darth Vader. We win. And the first Death Star was destroyed when it orbited Yavin. And the crystal that powers lightsabers and the Death Star lasers is Kyber crystal. Do I want to play again? Sure, let's play again. And then it goes back to the beginning. Now, I did notice one thing. I noticed that up here in these questions, if it's false, then we probably want to... where's my clearing happen? It's happening up there. Maybe I do the clear inside here. Now, here's the reason why I'm thinking that. The only reason why I'm doing that is because whenever I answered, which one was it? When I answered question 3 incorrectly, it didn't clear my screen because I'm doing the console clear before we get into the loop. So let me just fix that real quick. That's an easy fix. Now, some of these things that you'll see where, the game still technically works. It's a bit annoying and you want to fix it. I mean, it's just as easy as thinking about how your compiler's thinking about the game as it's going through it. So at this point, if I start the game and Yoda and Darth Vader. So now if I enter the wrong answer, oh, see, not that feels weird. I don't like that. I'm gonna go back to the way it was before. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the way it was before. It feels weird for it to just. Yeah, never mind. Ignore that part. Again, so this is part of experimenting and playing around with your game. Try stuff out. Oh, I didn't want to get rid of that. Try stuff out, see if it feels right, see if it works for you, and if it doesn't, then it's pretty easy to fix it. Just go back and put it all back where it belongs. All right. Perfect. So anyway, that's my trivia game. Yours doesn't have to look exactly like mine. This is just the way I built mine. If yours, if something else makes sense to you, I'm totally fine with that. Just make sure you meet the requirements for the assignment and you're giving me all the things that I'm asking for. If you do want to if this is still kind of confusing for you and you want to just kind of go through my code and try to match it as closely as possible, that's okay too. But I really, really want you to try to build this on your own. Maybe just watch this video, think about what I'm doing, and then try to replicate it without watching this video and copying it line for line. Now, obviously, if you just copy everything on here and then keep the same questions and the same answers and everything else, that's plagiarism. We don't want to do that. What I want to avoid is you going out to the internet and looking for a program someone else has written, copying and pasting it into the submission because you're thinking it's a power standard. I really need to get a good score. I don't want to do the work myself, or I don't understand this stuff, but I need to get, I can't fail this class. You can follow along with mine, but I really recommend that you try it on your own first. And if you're having trouble, compare to what I have here. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's kind of a long program, but honestly, it's all basically the same, just repeated a couple of different times. So, it's really not that much to get through. All right. Well, if you have any questions, please let me know. In the meantime, enjoy, and I'll see you when you're finished with the project. All right. See ya.